やがて世界を戦乱に巻き込み、多くの犠牲を生むでしょう。
Hi everybody, I'm Catherine with Gamereactor, and we are here at the pre-Jump Festa event hosted by Bandai Namco, and we are so excited to hear more about the new game Tekken 7. So first of all, could you tell me a little bit about where this fits into the series and what this game is focusing on?
Right, so we had first Tekken 6, then we had Tag Tournament 2, which is kind of like a spin-off of that. And we didn't really see a progression in the story after that. So now we're kind of taking a step back and we're continuing from where Tekken 6 left off with the canon story. So the controls go back to one-on-one like they were originally, and we see a lot of the returning characters who are key to the canon story. And especially we're kind of seeing what's happening with the Mishima clan. So Heihachi, why did he throw Kazuya off a cliff? Why is he trying to kill his grandson Jin? And then we also see the addition of his wife, Heihachi's wife, Kazumi Mishima. So why is she coming out now? What's going on with the story? All of these kind of things are somewhat answered in this installment of the game.
So you're answering some of the lingering questions.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's really been a crazy story. We've had all of these people with their own motives for the tournament. But why the Mishimas, and why are they so brutal towards each other?
You've had great success with the arcade version of the game. How are you going to build upon that and evolve it to the consoles?
Right. So I think that's something that makes us unique, is we still have a very vibrant arcade scene. So Tekken 7 was released. It was well received because of the gameplay. It's been more polished. The new mechanics like rage arts, which are very fun not only to use but to watch as well. The slow motion when someone looks like they're going to be defeated. A lot of new characters. So out of 27, 7 are brand new characters. So all of these things have made Tekken 7 really popular. And we just announced this past weekend that we're going to have Tekken 7 Fated Retribution, which is a major arcade update which sees Akuma. How cool is that, from the Street Fighter series? There's also some new gameplay stuff and characters that we have yet to announce. And that will see its way into the console when it's released as well.
So one thing about the Tekken series is that you understand how to develop and design very memorable characters that we all know and love. But how do you go about making new characters that can compete with these that also seem interesting?
まずキャラクターデザインするときに今いるキャラクター、鉄拳シリーズ長い20年経つ。
We have all these iconic characters like you were saying. So when we look at the lineup, which has been continuing for 20 years now, we try to look for what kind of character is missing that a certain group of fans might want, whether that's a character from a certain region or a certain fighting style, a certain way that they play. That's where we kind of start off, and then once we have that kind of general concept, we try to flesh out the character. So what language do they speak, what country are they from, what do they eat, why are they in the tournament, why are they fighting, these kind of things, and then we kind of build the look of the character and the animation and such accordingly.
なかなかでも平八とか和也とかぐらいまで突き抜けたところまで行くのはなかなか難しいですけども、そうやって作ってます。
Okay. You have added 2 new mechanisms to the game, one called Rage Art and one called Power Crush. Could you tell me a bit about these 2 new mechanisms?
Right, so we have, first off, the rage art. So up until now, Tekken's always had rage gauge. So when you take a certain amount of damage and you have only a little bit of health left, it flashes red, and that means your attacks are powered up as long as you're still alive. So we tried to expand upon that by now you can choose to receive that added damage to your attacks, or you can choose at a timing you like to input a certain command that changes depending on the character, to do a series of attacks in a combo that's really flashy, kind of like a super finishing move. And there's also the Power Crush. So what this is I can take one attack and it doesn't stop my attack. I power through it and I can damage my opponent, most often like knocking them down. and the attacks are quite different depending on the character. The drawback is you still receive damage from the opponent's attack that you kind of resolve. So, but the reason for this is Tekken is very fun to play, but since it's a 3D kind of realistic fighter, if you don't have knowledge about Tekken, sometimes it's hard to understand why are these Tekken fans going so crazy at this particular point in the match. So we tried to add these visual cues to make it more understandable about what's going on and why it's so cool. And also to make it more like tournament friendly, so people watch and it's like, oh my god, that guy was losing and then he used the rage art and came back. That kind of tournament friendly stuff. And also, sorry, we expected an influx of returning players from Tekken 6 who hadn't played for a while or maybe even earlier, and new players to the game. So these gameplay elements also kind of make the game more accessible, because if someone's just like jabbing you or doing something that's hard to defend against, you can use a power crush move to get out of it, or a rage art to finish them off. So there's kind of a few different objectives behind these.
So it's kind of a balance between nurturing old fans and engaging new fans in the series. It must be difficult to do both at the same time.
Exactly. We had to find something that didn't change the core mechanics that everyone likes, but kind of expands upon it. So you don't have to necessarily use it if you don't want to, but it is another tool at your disposal if you choose to use it. So I think it was a pretty good balance. And people, when they hear that, they might think, well, oh wow, that sounds too powerful. You just like spam out the super art. But it's decided on your rage art, and once you use it, it disappears until you can fill it again. And also, if you're very readable, like your opponent knows exactly when you're going to use it, you just block and then launch your opponent. So I think it's quite balanced, and people, I think they'll enjoy it once they've had time to play it.
So this is going to be the first game in the series using the Unreal Engine 4. So how was it to work with, and what did it contribute with to the game? What does it mean for the game that you have been able to work with that engine?
鉄拳アンリアル使った理由というのがやっぱりグラフィックの部分ですよね。
The main reason for using Unreal Engine was just to improve the graphical quality, because the shading effects, the post-processing effects, the lighting, all of these tools are very cutting-edge technology that you can kind of change the settings and such on the fly. So it's very easy to try some kind of particular design and see if you like it or not and make changes. So not only did that improve the overall quality, but made it very easy to kind of prototype stuff. And I think the leap in quality is very evident in the most recently announced arcade update, Tekken Fated Retribution. You can see the new stages, and they look amazing.
Tekken 7のフェイテントリトリビューションですかFR の方ではそうです。そういった効果が十分発揮された形でクオリティ高い状態で見せられるか。
So just as an ending question, when will we be able to see the game and to try to get it?
Well, that's a tough question. You know, we had Tekken 7 in the arcade from earlier this year. Maybe that doesn't apply to people in Europe or North America so much, but we've been able to take the game out to events and have the hardcore get their hands on it. So same with Tekken Fated Retribution. We haven't announced when that's going to come out. But if you go to the typical pattern, we usually do a location test in Japan and Korea, etc. And then you see the full release. So somewhere in between that location test and the full release, hopefully Harada and myself will have a few of those boards to take to Europe and North America so that players can check it out.
And what about the console version?
So currently our team's really hard at work on that arcade update, but everything we do in that update plus more will see its way into the console version after we release the arcade version.
そして愛しい我が子和也のこと